Hello, and welcome to the 2020 Census Participant Statistical Areas Program, or PSAP, Verification Phase Training Demonstration. We will begin by providing a general overview of the PSAP verification phase, including the schedule, the steps a participant will follow to complete the phase, an example of one of the announcements a participant will receive, and information for support. We will also interactively review the updated PSAP website, denoting where to locate all of the relevant materials for the PSAP verification phase. After the introduction, we will walk through how to review the 2020 statistical areas, how to notify the Census Bureau of approval or forthcoming corrections, how to correct the 2020 statistical areas, and how to submit the 2020 statistical areas. Before we begin with a PSAP overview, let's review the PSAP schedule. A checkmark after the description indicates that the event has already been completed. July 2019 marked the end of the delineation phase. The Census Bureau conducted a closeout by sending a correspondence announcing the completion of the delineation phase. In January 2020, the verification phase begins. Participants have the opportunity to review and verify the 2020 statistical areas from the delineation phase and submit any corrections to the Census Bureau within 90 calendar days of receipt of their verification announcement. All corrections are due in April 2020. The Census Bureau may follow up with questions or concerns regarding the corrections after this date as submissions are processed. In September 2020, the Census Bureau plans to conduct a closeout of the 2020 PSAP verification phase, similar to the one from the delineation phase, formally announcing the closure of the verification phase. Once the Census Bureau has finalized the 2020 statistical areas, they will become available for public use with boundaries and other information released on a flow basis beginning in November of 2020 through February 2021. With the 2020 Census PSAP delineation phase processing complete, the 2020 Census PSAP verification phase provides an opportunity for designated participants to ensure the 2020 statistical areas are acceptable and reflect the edits made by participants and the Census Bureau during the 2020 Census PSAP delineation phase. It serves as a final review of the statistical areas that will be used to tabulate the results of the 2020 census and other census surveys, such as the American Community Survey, the Puerto Rico Community Survey, and the Economic Census. Upon receipt of the verification announcement, participants have 30 calendar days to email the Census Bureau indicating whether corrections to your statistical areas are required. If you believe that significant corrections are needed, please discuss the corrections with the Census Bureau prior to making or submitting the changes. Participants have 90 calendar days from receipt of the verification announcement to review the 2020 statistical areas and submit any necessary corrections. Participants should visit the PSAP website to retrieve the verification phase materials. The materials are located beneath the 2020 Census PSAP Verification Materials section. Participants should use the TigerWeb online application to review the 2020 statistical area boundaries and attributes, including census tract coding, block group coding, census designated place names, census county division names, and tribal statistical area names applicable to their county or tribal area. Participants may use the online PDF maps of census tracts to review census tract coding if the coding was not reviewed in TigerWeb. Tribal participants may use the Tribal Online PDF maps to assist with the review of the 2020 tribal statistical areas specific to each tribal area. All of these products are detailed later in this demonstration. Participants have 30 calendar days from receipt of the verification announcement to notify the Census Bureau of their approval of the 2020 statistical areas or of forthcoming corrections. If the Census Bureau does not receive email or phone notification of approval or has not received a submission for your county or tribal area halfway through the review period, approximately 45 calendar days from receipt of the verification announcement, a follow-up notification regarding the status of your county or tribal area will be distributed by email or letter. The follow-up notification includes a reminder to email the Census Bureau of your approval or of your intention to make a submission. Participants are encouraged to use the time remaining in the review period to complete their verification phase corrections. Late submissions will not be accepted. If participants identify corrections during their review, standard statistical area participants must use GUPS to perform any corrections to the 2020 statistical areas. Tribal participants with American Indian reservations and off-reservation trust land areas may also use GUPS or paper maps to provide updates. Paper map packages will be sent to tribal participants to use to complete corrections if needed. Installation procedures of the new version of GUPS that supports the verification phase are detailed later in this demo. Participants must install the new version of GUPS from the PSAP website. They cannot use the version used during the delineation phase. Participants must use both the delineation phase materials and verification phase materials to make corrections to the 2020 statistical areas. We will highlight these materials in the website demonstration portion of this recording. Once the corrections have been made, participants who use GUPS must use the Secure Web Incoming Module, or SWIM, to submit the GUPS-generated zip file to the Census Bureau. To submit the paper maps with corrections, separate the map sheets with corrections from those without corrections. Retain a copy of the portion of the maps that show the corrections for use if the Census Bureau contacts you with questions. Place the updated maps and any supporting documentation in the original verification phase material packaging. Use the FedEx postage paid label on envelope to return the corrected maps to the Census Bureau. Here is an example of a portion of one of the PSAP verification announcements. Participants receive the verification announcements in the form of a letter or an email in January 2020 announcing the start of the PSAP verification phase. If not an exact match, the verification announcement you receive will look very similar to the example shown on this slide. In the interest of time, we are only displaying a portion of the verification announcement sent to PSAP primary official contacts for standard statistical areas. Other participants, such as tribal primary official contacts, technical contacts, and courtesy copy contacts, receive a similar verification announcement depending on their role in PSAP. Please review the verification announcement in detail, and if you are a primary official contact, follow the action steps in the order they are listed to successfully begin the verification phase. Upon receipt of the verification announcement, please visit the PSAP website at the link shown on the screen. For more information and further assistance regarding the PSAP verification phase, please contact the Census Bureau by email at geo.psap@census.gov or by phone toll-free at 1-844-788-4921. If you are a tribal partner that needs to provide corrections on paper maps and you haven't received a paper map package from the Census Bureau, please email geo.psap@census.gov or call 1-844-788-4921.